Welcome to the Bear Bow Hunter Podcast with your hosts, Nate Bailey and Jerry Goins, where we celebrate the ancient paths of our bear bow ancestors, where hard work and woodsmanship outweigh advanced shooting devices, where we value those who've gone before us and welcome those yet to come. Join us as we share valuable insight about the bear bow hunter's lifestyle. All right, welcome to another edition of Bear Bow Hunters Podcast, and we got co-host Jerry Goins with us today. Hey, Jerry.
How's it going, Nate?
Going good. And we have a special guest, Kody Kellom from Born and Raised Outdoors. How you doing?
No, I'm doing great. Just a week out from D-Day, kind of in panic mode, not going to lie, but all is
Hear
good.
you there.
So.
Yeah, and you got a lot going on. You're starting out here in Oregon, right?
Yep, we'll be on the Oregon coast for about 7 days, about a week here.
Right on. So you guys got all the bulls staked down and ready to go?
Negative. I have been in the Elkwoods once this year, and that was driving through on pavement. So, It's going to be like always. It'll be a roll of the dice, and hopefully go find that one that wants to play the game.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to watch. I'll tell you that, because it is always fun. It is always fun. Jerry and I, we're actually going to hunt together again this year, we're looking forward to that. There's some no-name.
So.
What's that?
I said very much so.
Yeah, there's a no-named unit that we're going to that we've had pretty good luck in before, so we're headed over there. But
right on, cool. When are you guys doing that trip?
Let me see. I think I'm taking off the 6th. I'll be there from the 6th till the 19th. Yeah, I
perfect.
Something like that this year.
Yeah.
I took a ton of time.
I'll be there the 6th through the 15th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're
right on.
Yeah, we're Jerry's actually after his first bull, we're gonna do something this year. We've hunted. So Jerry and I've hunted 4 years in a row? No, 4 years, but not in a row.
Yeah, I was out with a back injury last year, so didn't happen last year. We've had a lot of close calls, just haven't been able to drop the string yet.
Right. Yeah, that's the beauty and the beast of stickbow hunting is that getting that inside that 25 mark, right?
Right.
Well, but we had one at 11 paces a couple of years ago, but bad angle. There was never an angle. That was it,
But Jerry, on that one too, you did have that same bull. You had him raking at about 35, 40 yards too, and you just didn't feel comfortable with that shot.
Well, he was a little closer than that, but there was I ran out of cover, and then there was too much brush between me and him to try to pick a small hole. I didn't want to have the arrow ricochet off something and go sideways and have a bad hit. So we hoped he would come closer, and he did, but just not enough. I need to have 9 yards, 9 paces on that shot. Yeah.
So that kind of leads us into what we're talking about today is the differences between, because you've done both, Kody, and very well. You've shot 2 now with a stick bow and quite a few with your compound, and so we're kind of like, what we want to do is bring this to the guys that are, because I have a lot of guys that come on to Bear Bow Hunter and stuff that are switching over, and they're in between. They might want to shoot their stick bow and they want to shoot their compound, and I've told a lot of guys here lately, well, just take both. And if you get up in the morning and you don't feel like you're going to be able to do anything with your stick bow, take your compound. It's elk hunting. That's what we're out there for. So I thought it'd be cool to get you on here. Your perspective would be really good in your experience on the differences between the two.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm excited. It's I will say hunting with a stick bow, it's like another level of connection between the whole chase and everything. Um, and to me, it really, when I picked up a stick bow the first time, I ordered my bow from South in 2011, and was a, I got it like in January. I'm like, okay, well, there's no way I'll be able to hunt that season. And I guess January 2012 when I got it, and I just fell in love with archery all over again as soon as I got that bow. And yeah, I mean, it just ignited so much more the passion. I've bow hunted since I was 12 and 37 now, and so I've had a few seasons under my belt. But at that point, I felt obligated to shoot my compound. I didn't want to practice.
Right.
And picking that stick bow up was like a whole nother learning all over again, and so much fun.
Right. Now, have you changed your tactics between the two?
As far as hunting?
Yeah.
No, nope. I mean, definitely there's that, the difference there is effective range.
Right.
That first year, actually 2012, I missed a bull with my stick bow that would have been a slam dunk shot with my compound. The bull was 35 and I shot just underneath it. And I shot instinctive. So guessing range, it wasn't like a yardage range, but
right.
Just where I drew back and felt great. And I literally grazed right underneath his belly, under his shoulder there, and watched this bull run out of my dreams. And it was at that point, I'm like, we were headed to out of state to Wyoming for the first time that I'd elk hunted out of state. And I took my recurve and I was committed to it until the first day we got there. And the guy I was with, Chris, I called in two bulls. One was probably like a 340 and the other one was probably in that same class, and just missed the opportunities. And I literally that night pedaled 7 miles back out in the dark, got my compound to hunt the next day, because I was like, I'm not going to let that, I mean, after missing a bull and then
right.
seeing those two get away,
right.
I'm like, I'm more confident. And
right.
Who would have known the next day I would have got a 12-yard shot with my recurve that I had my compound on. So I would have had the opportunity, but such is life. So with no regrets. But
you got to have the confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that ties into it. Like and I've gone through the roller coaster of it all, where I felt invincible with a recurve in my hand, and then I've also felt about the size of the field mouse with it too. So I mean, hunting wise, tactic wise, the only thing that I've seen come into play is a little bit more patience. And I'm a firm believer elk hunting, like, you've got to kill them when you got the opportunity, and sometimes you have to make that opportunity happen, and you have to play a little bit less on the throttle with the stick bow in your hand, and let some things develop at times. And that the flip side of that, the actual first bull that I did kill with a stick bow would have shot him all day long at 30 yards when he stepped out bugling, and he turned and walked, came into 20. He turned, gave a decent opportunity, but with a compound slam dunk. And then he finally kept coming. And when I shot him, he was 7 yards. And,
wow.
None of that would have ever happened if I
right.
would have had a compound in my hands. And that experience was just still very vivid in my mind when he stepped out, and it looked like, uh-oh. And,
I'm screwed.
Seeing that arrow sink all the way to the nock, and it was a really, really neat experience. But and something that could not have been replicated if I would have had a compound in my hand. Because, like I said, I would have shot probably 2 minutes before that.
Right. Yeah.
I think Aaron Snyder's alluded to that as well. That there's so many experiences that you won't get to have if you continue to shoot animals out at 40, 45 yards. It's a lot more up close and personal when you get them within that really short range. And those experiences stay with you for the rest of your life.
For sure. Yep, there's no doubt.
Yeah, and sometimes
the whole process to me is much more intimate, just with your bow and, feeling like that thing. And then, it's another machined aluminum chunk of metal in your hand with a string, and, so it's definitely that side of it as well.
Right.
Yeah. Aaron, when he went back to the stick, because he went to the stick and then got off of it and then went back, and I got a text and it was like, man, even the does are giving me the shake now,
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. So, and the guy that's, done so well as he's done with the stick bow, he's still found some passion in it. So, that's cool. But at the same time, like Gage was going to shoot his stick this year. We got him set up and got arrows set up for him. And he's just, some days he was shooting, 6-inch groups at 30. And then other days it was all over the place. And he says, I just don't know, Dad. And I said, well, here's the deal is put it down. If you don't know,
right.
Yeah.
Especially he's got into elks last couple times and not killed one yet. I said, you just get an elk under your belt, don't try to jump into all that. So
don't push it for the sake of just using a trad bow.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely, and I think in today's social media, a lot of people feel the pressure for whatever reason, invalid, but feel pressure from others. And man, if that's what you want to do, then go for it and hunt with a stick bow, but don't say like, oh, I'm carrying the trad flag in that sense for others.
Right.
So.
Right.
And one of the big things, I started elk hunting with rifles. So, and I still to this day think about some of those times. And, I have uncles and cousins that still love to rifle hunt, and they love the whole wall tents with the snow on the ground, find the tracks, and then, take off on tracks and track them, and that still appeals to me. It's hunting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no doubt.
And the fact of the matter is when I pick up the trad bow just because I really love it, and I love that time of year. But I think we as hunters need to kind of get back to that idea of, hey, this is hunting. This is a lot more than just a social media thing for sure, and it's a lot more.
Yeah.
If Gage gets a bull this year with his compound, you will see the happiest dad you've ever seen in your life.
No doubt.
No doubt. Yeah.
And so that's one of the big things, with the trad bow and the compound bow. I think we just kind of need to throw that all away and start thinking more so about the hunt itself, and how that unfolds.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, so so one of the things there, I know you missed that one. That was on Uncharted. What video was that on?
Uncommon Ground.
It was on Uncommon Ground, and I watched that.
Was that the one that was walking across the logging road?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he turned and walked right down that logging road. He fooled us because where he was at, he sounded like he was down in the timber. Well, he was around the corner. It was kind of the head of this draw, and he was around the corner when he bugled. We would have definitely set up in a different spot with knowing where he was, and that wind was kind of shifty. And the culprit of that whole deal there was a cow that came in like to my left
yeah.
about 18 yards, and she's the one that winded and ran out there and stopped. So yeah, it was that was a heartbreaker. Like,
That was a big bull.
I just remember feeling so confident anchoring and aiming, you know, and looking at that
Right.
spot. And when I shot, watching the arrow, and it was just like it just seemed like that thing just had an extra 100 grains in that arrow, and it just kept dropping. And it's like, no. But
yeah, because it went right under it, didn't it?
Right under it, yeah.
If I recall, yeah.
Yep. It actually had, it grazed the back leg, kind of in that back armpit, just right. There was just a couple pieces of hair right there on the broadhead. And,
wow.
Yeah, and that thing walked out of our lives forever. But
not really. It's on
was a
film.
Humbling. Yeah, exactly. It was a humbling experience because, you know, shooting at a live animal versus, I mean, the fun thing with a stick bow in my hand, I'm constantly shooting to the point where the guys are like, really, you're going to shoot a stick again? I mean, you've killed like 12 today, you know?
But that's fun.
Exactly.
You know?
I love it.
I do too.
So, yeah, that definitely the correlation. I mean, it carries over, but with the live animal, it is a different deal. And of actually all the shots I've had with a stick bow, I've missed low, not left, right. I've missed low every single time when I have missed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a yardage thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a yardage. Yeah. Yep. That sight picture and.
Yeah.
So.
I went to a heavy arrow this year, turkey season. Got within 25 yards of a turkey and let the arrow go, and you could see it in the video, and the arrow, it's like, oh, home run, and then all of a sudden, like at 20 yards, it drops 18 inches in the last 5 yards, and you're like, what? And that really made me rethink my arrows this year because I'm going with less grains because, you know, it would have been with the 500 grain arrow, it would have whacked it. So.
Right. Yeah.
But
I tried the 650 grain route and man, I'll tell you what, out of a 50-pound bow, that thing's dropping like a rock, like you just said.
Yeah.
I've gone back to a 550 grain. I mean, I'm still shooting 11 grains per pound, and I would rather hit what I'm aiming at with a 550 than shoot low with a 650.
Right.
Yeah, that's the exact same arrow setup that I had or have on my stick bow, 550.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so another thing is, you know, for the guys that are shooting gap, they could shoot a heavy arrow gap and still be very consistent out at that range. But when you start talking instinctive guys like us, it's all about like shooting basketballs. If you take a basketball and you shoot a little one, and then you learn on that little one, and then you take a big one, it's going to throw you completely off. Well, that's what happened to me. And, you know, and I can't get over it.
I've got 30 years of shooting 550 grain arrows.
Right.
You know? And so to throw another 100 grains on there, like you said, it just really throws off what my brain says that arc is supposed to be.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Would you be willing to tell us, Kody, about I know you got a bull off camera, with your trad bow, and I haven't heard that story. And so
yeah, interesting enough, both bulls that I've killed, we've not been filming. It's the only two elk I think that we've not filmed in the last 12 years. Yeah, so that first one, like I told the story there, you know, that was a pretty special moment because Trent, Trevor, Steve, and I were all there.
Oh wow, yeah, cool.
You know, Steve and I found that bull the night before bugling, actually opening weekend. That was on. I killed a buck actually opening day on Saturday with the stick bow, and then found that bull Sunday night right at dark, and then Monday morning, Labor Day weekend there when it opened.
Nice.
When that season shifted open in Oregon,
right.
got on him. And so the next bull I hunted with a stick bow, I think, so that would have been 2014, I think. And then 2015, hunted with it again and found a bull. Actually, Trent's boy Wyatt was with us. Same deal, Labor Day weekend.
Nice.
And it was there was actually a couple elk out in this clear cut, brand new clear cut they had logged it that winter. And so it's all just gray, all dead, and there was a bunch of pine maple in there, super tall, super thick pine maple. But we had the plan that I was going to be the flusher and Trent was going to be in the very bottom where those elk were going to kind of funnel out of, because we thought there was no way out in that clear cut you're going to get close to them. So him and Wyatt bailed down on the bottom and got down there, and I heard him cow call once, like, okay, I'm down here ready. And
right.
We'd seen him in there before, and anytime that they left the unit, they just hit the same trail and went down there. So I started sneaking along and was doing my best to see how close I could get. And the break of the ground was just enough in there. It was just steep enough, but had a roll to it that I could see him antlers, but I couldn't see his body. And so I'm like, he was angling to the right, so I just cut a diagonal, and I'm like, boy, if I just keep on this path, I think I can get pretty close. And I'm about 50 yards right now.
Right.
And so he's just feeding to the right. And, every once in a while his head would actually even go down. I wouldn't see him, and I would just slip along. And I was doing my best. South Cox impersonation, and I had taken my shoes off, and I was in my socks.
You weren't in your underwear, though.
No, I was not in my underwear. I got to keep those on, so keep the pants on. And anyways, I just kept slipping up, and I mean, we were basically diagonaling to each other. And I'm like, if I get to that stump, he's got to be 20 yards. And at that point, I still couldn't see his head. And so I got down there, and I peeked up over the stump, and I could see him. He's turned broadside, but looking down the hill, kind of feeding. I'm like, if I get up on the stump, I can shoot him. And so I did. I just kind of slowly inched my way up on the stump and stood up, and just as I'm standing, I'm just seeing more and more and more of the elk, and came to full draw and shot. And it looked low, looked like I went underneath it, shooting downhill quite a bit.
Right.
And what I saw I hit it for sure, but it looked really low. Well, what happened is that arrow had gone in, and when it lodged in the opposite shoulder, and we took a step, it broke, and so that arrow was hanging down. And he whirled out there and stopped, and he was about 35, and he's standing there, and I can just see it. Now he's on, because I shot him on the right side. Now his left side's facing me, and I can't see any blood coming out that side, but I could see right at his armpit on his left leg, it's just a garden hose just pumping blood.
Right.
And so he's standing there looking, and I should have just not shot again, because when I shot and missed, and he took off running and ran almost to the bottom there, dead on his feet. He made it like 30 yards and then just rolled all the way down to the bottom. But if I wouldn't have, he would have just died right there. But
would have been a lot easier to pack.
Cool, pretty cool. I let out a war cry, and Trent and Wyatt there in the bottom, like, I see him, he's dead right here,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it all went down, from the shot to where he was dead was 30 seconds at most. And just,
Wyatt got to see it all, huh?
Yep, they got to see it all. And ran a broadhead right through his heart and put him down pretty quick. So that was a pretty special deal. Just there and experiencing that. But
that's cool.
I guess the one thing is, it's the cool side of it. It's probably one of the most the smaller Roosevelts that I've shot, but it's the one bull I'm proud of more than anything, because of that. It felt like the impossible task of going out and killing that bull when I started in on him. And I was feeling pretty good about my stalking skills at that point. So pretty fun.
Was that the same year you went mule deer hunting with South?
No, that was actually the same year. Same year I went to Idaho. Later on, Trent and I went to Idaho, and I killed a bull over there with my compound that same year.
Oh, right on.
Idaho. So
right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
The following year, 2016, is when I went with South to Nevada.
Right. Yeah, that was. I remember watching that video. That was a good video. I enjoyed the heck out of that.
Pretty. That was one of those when I was on the mountain, kind of had that realization, like I'm up on the mountain hunting with a living legend, mule deer legend, and I just the whole time when I was up there, I was so out of my element of, archery elk hunting that I was just in observation and just watching South, the way he moved, what kind of decisions he made, how quick he moved when he did go in on a stalk, like all these things.
Right.
Just he probably got annoyed at the end because I was a kid with 20 questions. Just, well, why are you doing that? What about this? And he's like, I don't know, just doing my thing, and probably similar to how I feel in the elk woods, just moving through it and making decisions on the fly and going off instinct. So.
Yeah, and you guys, if you watching the videos and watching the YouTube channel and all that, it's almost second nature to you guys. I bet you people that are brand new, so you're going to be hunting with the hunting public this year.
Correct. Yep.
And I bet you when you guys go in there, they're going to be like, "Why are you doing what you're doing?" And you're going to be like, I never really thought about that, but this is why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on.
For sure. I'm excited to have them on their first elk hunt. So
we just got done talking to Ben Potter, and he's pretty new to elk hunting, but he kind of got into it with the linguist, and then and just to listen to his enthusiasm, right, Jerry? I mean, it was just crazy.
Oh yeah. It's like that reminds me of me 25
me
or 30
too.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just fired up though.
Yeah, and so much so that his wife saw it, and she's going to hunt this year with him as well. So it's kind of.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So those kind of things, all that, I guess, all that stuff that you kind of get around is crazy, and all the stuff that we get when I've just started going back through your videos. I got the collection, so I'm just going I'm just going back through because that was something that we did a long time when we go through elk hunting videos in August, and then you get pumped up, and it kind of keeps you going through September. You're like, remember how pumped up you were in August? Well, keep moving.
Did you guys get to watch Elk Fever 3 with Larry Lee and Dwight and Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty special.
I cried.
That was I when Dwight talked about being on borrowed days, and it was a pretty tough one to swallow. Just watching me growing up. I mean, reading his articles in Bowhunter. He was from Klamath, and actually, when his wife was pregnant with their daughter, my parents had Lamaze class together there in Klamath.
Oh wow!
With my sister, and so like adds the connection, and then. South and I recorded a podcast with him with the Full Draw Full Time podcast.
Right.
It was the first time he'd ever done a podcast. It's like here's another one of those moments in my life. I'm like talking to a legend that I've looked up to since I was a kid.
Yeah,
it's pretty special. But yeah, definitely a sad story seeing him pass. And such an iconic guy that honestly Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people this day and age that are new to bow hunting would even
understand.
If you mention that name, would even have an idea who that was. And that was, I still remember to this day when I got the Peak Dwight shoe pack for Christmas from my parents. That was, huge deal.
Yeah, we were just talking about that as Elk Fever that's part of that ritual too, right? Elk Fever is so much so that my wife Misty, when I watched part of that on, on my mobile, and then I was like, I got to share this at home. And I came home and I said, Misty, you got to watch Elk Fever 3. And she knew what I meant, which is kind of funny because she, I've drove her nuts for years with it. My sons grew up on it, and so when I sat there and showed it to her, and she was watching me watch it the whole time, and I'm not going to give away the last because everybody needs to go watch it. But that last phrase, as it closes in that movie, just brought tears to my eyes because, I mean, my goodness, that's every August, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jerry. I cut you off there. I didn't mean to, buddy.
Did I say something?
Oh, well, you started to, and I cut you off.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But
I just, go into a daydream or something. No.
I love it.
But no, we definitely August. So that middle to last of August, the blood starts getting pumping, and I'm excited for you guys, and I bet you guys are getting excited too, and kind of getting a little nervous, I imagine. But are you guys really looking forward to getting out there? I bet.
Yeah, no, we are. I mean, the biggest thing for us, our takeaway, we've had a couple phenomenal years with Land of the Free and Land of the Free 2.0, and
right.
Just spent some great time, some great people, and great country. But we were going through photos, and there was not a single photo of the four of us together during the last 2 years. So this year, with the ability, we're going to start here in Oregon, and it's just going to be us. We're changing it up and kind of getting back to the roots. So really excited. And then the one hunt that we're all really, really excited for is Steve's Arizona hunt, because it's one of those things you've always dreamed of seeing,
right?
Hunting those elk, and it'll be interesting to try to make Steve not shoot the first bull that steps out.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to control his arrows, or else you guys become back with a spike.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you. So, one thing, Kody, what piece of advice would you give somebody who is thinking about transitioning over to the stick bow that's shooting a compound now?
I would say the biggest thing would be take your time through the process. Enjoy the process. I think a lot of guys, just want to get, I just want to shoot 30 yards and be proficient and shoot a softball group. And the reality, you may get there really quick, but the one thing that when I started that I think helped me build a really good foundation to where now I can take a 6-month break off that thing, pick it up, and in, a day or two be right back feeling in the swing of things. I shot 5 yards, 3 yards, and just only worried about my form, anchor point going through, so everything's consistent. And so, I enjoyed that. I limited myself when I did shoot. I'd only shoot a couple arrows at 20 yards, but everything else was, up close and getting it to where I could literally pick a spot on the target at 3 yards and hit exactly where I was aiming.
Right.
And so that was one, I really got to enjoy that process of learning over again and kind of drilling down the mechanics of archery. So I'd encourage someone to do that. Don't try to go, well, I can shoot 80 yards in my compound. I should be able to shoot 40 yards in my stick bow, and then get frustrated. And then, and
good luck with
and
that.
second, yeah. And I think the other side of it is don't overbow yourself. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I need a 55 pounder. And, for your first one, 45 would probably be a good starting point. I'm a pretty big guy, and my bow is right at 50 pounds.
Right.
So.
And you draw a
at
long
30
ways
inches.
too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a pretty smooth, pretty light draw, really, for the draw length that I've got.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and if you made a good point. I mean, people who want to pick up a trad bow, the way I taught myself to shoot instinctively was exactly like you're talking about. I put one of those little orange dots on the target, and I started out at about 3 or 4 yards. And when every single arrow would be, you know, around in that dot or right around it, then I moved back to 5, and from 5 to 7.
Yep.
I mean, that was the progression I made until before that first season. I was out to 20 and feeling pretty confident at 20 yards. And it's hard to come from because I came from the compound side, to come to the trad side and limit yourself to 20 yards.
Totally.
But as we talked earlier, there's many, many, many rewards to doing that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, become proficient out to 20 yards, confident, then go.
Correct.
But know that you're not going to go from 80 to 40. You're going to go from 80 to 20 and be okay with that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's so many guys in the trad community that you see it on social media and everywhere else. You know, we have Bear Bow Hunters group, and we try to keep it down in there. But where a guy like what you said, Kody, is you went in with your recurve and you're like, nah, and you went back and got your compound. I think that's just a prudent move. I think that's something that we should do. If you don't feel confident in that, then by all means go do what you got to do. And I think in the trad community, we need more guys understanding, because there's a lot of guys coming up and then they're like, well, I don't want to look bad in front of everybody and go get my compound again and this and that. And I don't think that's the right idea. I think get out there, hunt, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The bottom line is you owe it to the animal to
Perfect. Yeah.
not have a bad hit because of pride.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Bad hits do happen, but if it's something that you know that you should have taken care of, then it becomes a, you know. Right. But so that's kind of one of the biggest messages I'd like these guys to get is, you know, there's no shame in picking up a compound and going elk hunting. My goodness. Elk hunting with a compound is really, really hard too.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from that. You guys have proved quite a bit different though in some of your the first Land of the Free, when you guys did that on the Oregon coast, I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, that was an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anomaly, but at the same time using the opportunity that you guys had too. I mean, you guys know how to use those.
Yeah, no, everyone capitalized, and that's, I mean, the thing about it, it's not like there was multiple bulls screaming their faces off or anything like that. It was, we found that one bull and he made a mistake and we got him. And,
right.
Yeah.
And you guys are super humble, you know, and you don't talk a lot of that way, but at the same time, the fact of the matter is you guys are good at what you do. You guys are really good at it.
Right.
You know?
No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, like, we're no different than anyone else, just out there. We happen to carry a camera. So.
Yeah, but good at the same time. And it helps all of us out too. So one last thing I was going to ask you before we let you get going. I know you're busy. Are you going to carry the stick bow down the road?
Yeah, I've been trying to work through, to be apparently honest, open and honest on that. The hardest part is some of our sponsor.
Gotcha.
Side of it with Hoyt. So,
well, they make stick bows.
I know they do.
I'm kidding you.
But it would be tough not to pick up the stalker.
Yep, I hear you.
You know, just I feel like I know that thing, and yeah, it was good to have it back in my hands this early summer. Carp fishing.
Yeah, that was a good time.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I got completely schooled in that.
So much fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming on here, and I sure appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. It's been an honor.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to watching you guys just being back together again, and the adventure that you guys get together. You have adventures, and I think that's what everybody looks for. So don't feel the pressure of like, oh, we got to get into these elk and this and that. Don't feel that. You guys just being who you guys are and what you're doing is bringing so much to the bow hunting community.
Oh, I appreciate that. That means a lot. And that was actually when we kind of announced this project last week when we did our beer launch, was that, you know, at the end of the day, we did feel some pressure from Land of the 3.1 to 2.0. And you know what? Elk season is going to be however elk season turns out. We're going to go have fun and
just document it.
Yep, just document it and share. So,
and we'll want to watch it.
You guys have you've been so successful. I mean, people can't expect you guys to go out and tag out every time. I mean, that's not reality in the whole elk hunting world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't feel pressure that you have to kill stuff. You know, just keep showing the adventures. So you're having a good time.
Yep.
Right. It's the interesting side of it is like I felt last year we were in a lot more elk a lot more often, but we didn't kill as many. And, you know, that was some of the comments like, oh, man, been pretty slow. Like, wow, we've had in our face every day, just maybe not killing. So
just a lot of wind changing.
Okay, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of encounters.
How many elk have you killed, buddy?
Yeah.
Right. No. Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's all good. It's part of putting content out, but
those encounters. Yeah, you had some crazy encounters last year. Crazy.
Yes.
I can't wait to see some more, and especially. Yeah. There's going to be some stuff coming up that just by and the mixture of terrain that's going to be this year compared to, you know,
wide variety.
And it's going to kind of throw you for a loop, I bet. And I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
You guys.
Yep. All righty. I'm going to let you get going. Thanks a bunch. I sure appreciate
thanks, guys,
you being
so much.
here.
Yeah. We'll send me a picture when you guys kill one.
We will. And same to you guys. Let us know when you guys get into them. And before we get going, you guys, if you haven't heard of Born and Raised Outdoors, I don't know why you're even listening to this podcast. So, but if you haven't heard of Born and Raised Outdoors, they have a huge thing going, podcast, Instagram, YouTube, the whole works. So go and you're also got a elk kit that you're selling right now that people should probably look at. So.
Oh yeah, the old Cat Road Shuffle.
Yeah.
Our approach to elk hunting is, we call way too much, way too often. So it'll get you started in that path.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks a bunch, Kody. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right.
Have a great day.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on another edition of Bear Bow Hunters Podcast. Hey, if you like what you heard, please give us a rating down below. We like the 5 stars. And follow us also on Instagram under Bear Bow Hunters. Go to our YouTube account, Bear Bow Hunter at YouTube, under the Life Outdoors heading. So that's Bear Bow Hunters YouTube under the Life Outdoors. Also, go in, join Bear Bow Hunter group on Facebook. Thanks again for listening.